You ever wonder why some people make it and others don't? Not because they're smarter. Not because they're luckier. Not because the universe somehow chose them. It's something else. Something you'll never hear them say out loud. See, everyone talks about the grind. Everyone posts about hard work, discipline, consistency. But the truth, the real truth, the one the truly successful will never tell you, is that it's not about what they do in public. It's about what they endure in silence. They've mastered a part of the game most people will never see, the invisible side of success, the side that doesn't look glamorous. The one with no audience, no applause, no likes, no recognition, the one where they're exhausted, questioning themselves, tempted to quit. But they don't. Because here's the thing, real success has a secret language, and it's not spoken with words, it's spoken with what you choose to do when nobody's watching. I want you to picture something for a moment. Imagine two people starting the same journey, same goal, same dream, same resources. One gives up after a few months, says it's too hard, too uncertain, too slow. The other keeps going, same pain, same fear, but they keep moving anyway. A year later, they're unrecognizable. People call them lucky, gifted, different. But the truth, the difference was never talent. It was tolerance. The ability to stay in the fight long after the feeling of motivation was gone. That's the part no one talks about. The part they don't post on Instagram. The nights they couldn't sleep because failure was whispering in their ear. The mornings they showed up when no one else did. The moments they questioned if it was even worth it. And still said, I'm not done yet. The secret successful people never say out loud is that they've learned to live in discomfort, to turn pain into power, to stay calm when everything around them is chaos. They don't brag about it because it's not something you can fake. It's not glamorous. It's earned. And if you're listening to this right now, maybe you're at that point where things feel heavy, uncertain, exhausting. You're grinding but not seeing results. You're doing everything right and wondering why it's not working yet. And I'm here to tell you this right here is the part no one tells you about. The part that decides whether you make it or not. Because the moment you understand what I'm about to share, the secret successful people never say out loud, your entire definition of success will change. Now let's get into it. You've been told your whole life that success comes from talent. That if you're born gifted, you'll make it. That the people who rise to the top are simply different. But here's the hard truth, the one that's almost too simple for people to believe. It's not about talent. It's about endurance. See, talent is easy to admire because it looks effortless. It's shiny. It's comfortable to believe in. You look at someone succeeding, too, and it's more convenient to say, they're just talented, because it excuses you from doing the work. It's easier to believe they were chosen than to face the idea that maybe, just maybe, they stayed in the game longer than you were willing to. But endurance, that's not sexy. It's not Instagrammable. It doesn't come with a filter or applause. Endurance is what happens when everything in you says stop, and you take one more step anyway. It's when the motivation dies, the excitement fades, and all that's left is discipline. That quiet, unglamorous decision to keep going. Think about it. Every person you admire, every overnight success you've ever heard of had a long stretch of obscurity you never saw. Years of rejection, uncertainty, and silence. You didn't see the days they questioned their worth, the moments they thought about walking away, the people who doubted them. You didn't see the sacrifices, missing family events, working when others rested, studying when others slept. You only saw the end product, the victory, the spotlight, the applause. But behind that was 1,000 silent choices to endure. Endurance is what separates those who dream from those who do. Most people quit not because they can't achieve something, but because they can't handle how long it takes. They want fast. They want easy. They want results yesterday, too. But success doesn't care about your timeline. It demands patience, consistency, and the ability to move forward even when there's no evidence that it's working. You know what breaks most people? The waiting, the uncertainty. That in-between phase where nothing seems to be happening, going to the space between starting and succeeding, that's where dreams die. Not because people don't have what it takes to, but because they underestimate how long it takes to build something real. When you watch someone rise, you're not seeing their talent. You're seeing their tolerance. Their ability to withstand rejection, humiliation, criticism, boredom, repetition, and pain, all without quitting. You're seeing someone who's been told no, 100 times and still showed up for 101. Endurance doesn't just build results. It builds you. It teaches you to trust yourself. It hardens your mind, but it strengthens your spirit. Because every time you push through the urge to stop, you send a message to your brain. I can handle more than I think I can. And that message, that belief, becomes your power. People talk about mindset, but mindset is just endurance dressed up in nice words. It's not about repeating affirmations or staying positive all the time. It's about training your mind to stay in the fight when it gets ugly. When the room is quiet, when no one believes in you, when you're staring at results that don't reflect your effort, that's where mental toughness is built. Here's the paradox. Success often looks like nothing's happening right before everything happens. You'll put in months, maybe years, of work with no visible reward. That's the testing ground. That's where endurance separates the temporary from the timeless. Most people won't make it past that phase. Not because they're incapable, but because they confuse slow progress with no progress. But the ones who endure, they know something. They know that even when nothing seems to be working, something is working inside them. They're growing. They're sharpening their craft. They're becoming the kind of person who deserves the success they're chasing. Because success isn't something you get. It's something you become capable of holding, and endurance is the process that makes you strong enough to hold it. You want to know why some people lose what they gain so fast? Why they crumble the moment things get hard again? Because they skipped endurance. They built speed, not strength. They wanted shortcuts. But shortcuts cheat you out of character. They rob you of resilience. And resilience is the currency of real success. The truth is, endurance is quiet. It's lonely. It's thankless. You'll rarely get validation for it. People might even think you're wasting your time. But that's the irony. The very thing people mock you for today becomes the thing they admire you for tomorrow, too. And when you finally make it, when the results start showing, when the opportunities start rolling in, people will look at you and say, "You're so talented." They'll say, "You're so lucky." And you'll just smile because you'll know the truth. You'll know it wasn't talent. It was nights you cried and still kept going. It was days you doubted yourself but still showed up. It was all the times you felt invisible and kept building anyway. That's the secret. Endurance gives you freedom. When you know you can outlast your pain, fear loses its power. When you know you can outlast the struggle, failure stops being a threat. Because failure can only break you if you stop before you learn from it. So if you're in that phase right now, the grind, the quiet, the invisible effort, understand this: you're not stuck. You're being built. Every challenge, every delay, every moment of frustration is adding something to you that can't be taken away. You're not behind. You're being fortified. And when the time comes, when your moment arrives, you'll realize something: success didn't change you. It revealed you, too. It showed the world what endurance already made true. That you were never chasing talent. You were becoming unstoppable. That's the secret they never say out loud, too. Because endurance can't be taught in a classroom. It can't be gifted. It's earned step by step, day by day, when you decide that quitting is no longer an option. And when you make that decision, when you decide that you'll outlast whatever's in your way, success doesn't become a question anymore. It becomes inevitable. There's a moment in every person's journey where emotion takes over. The pressure builds. Things don't go your way. People disappoint you. Life doesn't play fair. And in that moment, you face a decision that will define everything that comes after. Will you be ruled by your emotions, or will you rule them? Most people think mastery means suppression. They think being strong means pretending they're fine, pretending they don't feel anything, pretending they're not scared or angry or hurt. But that's not strength. That's denial. Real strength is when you feel everything. The fear, the pain, the frustration, and still choose your actions with intention. It's not about not feeling. It's about not letting feelings dictate your direction. The people who rise, the ones who truly make it, they've learned how to stay steady when their emotions are screaming for chaos. When they're insulted, they don't react. When they're doubted, they don't lash out. When they're scared, they don't freeze. They've trained themselves to respond with strategy, not impulse. You know how many people lose opportunities, relationships, or entire futures because they couldn't control a momentary emotion? A flash of anger, a burst of pride, a spiral of self-doubt. One small emotional slip can undo years of progress. Because emotions are powerful, but they are also temporary. They're like storms, loud, too destructive, but fleeting. And if you can stand still while everyone else is running from the thunder, you'll see clearer than anyone else going to. Mastering emotions doesn't mean you don't cry or that you don't hurt. It means you don't let those emotions write your story. It means you can look fear in the eye and still take the next step. You can be tired and still push forward. You can feel small and still act like you belong in the room. There's a line between reacting and responding, and it's everything. Reacting is instinct. It's what most people do when they feel threatened or criticized or uncertain. Responding is intelligence. It's pausing long enough to ask yourself, what's the outcome I want here? And then acting accordingly. The successful don't let emotion hijack their purpose. They slow down, assess, and move with clarity, even when they're bleeding inside. And let's be real, life will test you. It will hit you in ways that feel personal. Too, you'll lose people you thought would always be there. You'll be underestimated, overlooked, even betrayed. You'll pour everything into something and watch it fall apart. That's where emotional mastery is born, in the places where most people would break. You can't control the world, but you can control your internal state. That's the difference between those who survive and those who thrive. The world doesn't get quieter for the successful. They just learn to stay calm in the noise. They learn to separate emotion from action, chaos from clarity. Here's the truth: emotions are data. They're not directions. They tell you something about what's happening inside you, but they shouldn't decide what you do next. Anger can show you what you care about. Fear can show you where your limits are. Sadness can show you what you value. But if you let those emotions lead, they'll drive you into walls. You have to be the one behind the wheel. Imagine being in the middle of a storm, everything around you moving, chaotic, out of control. That's what it feels like when life tests you. But the person who can stay centered, who can breathe, think, and act deliberately in that storm, that's the person who becomes unstoppable. Because while everyone else is reacting to the weather, you're already steering the ship. That's why emotional control is power. Because when you can control how you respond, nothing and no one can manipulate you. People can insult you, betray you, try to provoke you, but they can't move you. You decide your energy. You decide your pace. You decide your next step. That's freedom. You want to know what emotional mastery looks like? It's when you don't need revenge. You don't need to prove yourself. You don't need validation. 2. You're at peace even when things aren't perfect. Because your peace doesn't depend on circumstances. It depends on you. It's easy to look composed when life is kind. Anyone can smile when things are working. But the real test comes when nothing's working. When your back's against the wall, when you're hurt and tired and disappointed, that's when emotional control becomes your weapon. Because in that moment, the one who stays calm wins. When others panic, you plan. When others complain, you adapt. When others quit, you adjust. That's what mastery looks like. Not perfection, but persistence under pressure. And yes, it hurts. You'll have moments where the weight of it all feels unbearable. Moments where you want to scream, cry, or walk away. Feel it. Let it wash through you. But then, take a breath. Ask yourself, what's my move? Not my reaction, my move. Because successful people don't move from emotion, they move from intention. They understand that emotions come and go, but decisions create destiny. You can't build something lasting on temporary feelings. If you want to create something extraordinary, your emotions have to serve you, not sabotage you. That means learning to pause, to sit with discomfort, to not make decisions when you're angry or afraid or desperate. It means choosing patience over panic, stillness over noise, clarity over chaos. Because mastery isn't about speed, it's about precision. Over time, emotional control becomes your edge. You stop taking things personally. You stop chasing approval. You stop being triggered by every small setback. You start seeing challenges as data, not disasters. You start recognizing that every emotion is an opportunity to strengthen your self-control. The greatest leaders, the highest performers, the most successful people you'll ever meet, they've all built that internal armor. They still feel pain, but they don't bleed on everyone. They still get angry, but they channel it into purpose. They still get afraid, but they act anyway. So if you want to step into your power, start mastering your emotions. When you get triggered, pause. When you feel rejected, reflect. When you feel like quitting, question why. When you're hurt, heal privately, not publicly. Because self-control is not weakness, it's dominance. The quiet kind, the kind that can't be shaken, even when the world tries to break you. At the end of the day, emotional mastery is not about becoming cold or detached. It's about becoming unshakable. It's about being so grounded in who you are that nothing external can pull you off course. It's the ability to say, yes, this hurts. Yes, I'm scared, too. But I decide what happens next. And that's what separates those who crumble from those who conquer. Because the world will never stop testing you. But once you master yourself, the tests lose their power. You stop being at the mercy of your emotions and start using them as fuel. That's the real secret of emotional mastery. Not silence, not suppression, but strength. The kind that whispers, I'm in control, even when everything around you is not. One of the hardest truths you'll ever face is this: most people don't actually want growth. They want approval. They don't want to get better. They want to look like they're better. They chase applause instead of progress. They chase being seen instead of being built. And that's exactly why so few ever rise beyond average. See, validation is addictive. It feels good. Every compliment, every like, too. Every "you're doing great" gives you a small hit of satisfaction. It tricks your brain into thinking you're moving forward, even when you're standing still. But growth doesn't give you that same feeling. Growth is awkward. It's uncomfortable. It's lonely. It often feels like failure. And that's why most people run from it, too. The ones who truly succeed don't need the world to clap for them. They don't need to prove anything to anyone. They don't need constant reassurance that they're on the right path. They trust their vision enough to move in silence. They understand that validation is temporary, but growth is permanent. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone start strong, posting their goals, their hustle, their grind every day, only to disappear when the applause stops? That's the difference between seeking validation and seeking growth. Validation fuels you as long as people are watching. Growth fuels you even when no one is. Growth means staying committed even when no one notices. It means doing the work that doesn't get likes or praise. It's waking up early when no one's cheering. It's showing up when no one says thank you. It's learning, failing, adapting, and trying again when no one is paying attention. It's quiet, invisible, and sometimes painful. But it's the only path that leads somewhere real. The need for validation is a trap, a subtle one, because at first it seems harmless. You just want to be acknowledged, appreciated, understood. But slowly, it starts to control you. You start changing your goals, your style, your actions to please people who don't even know your story. You stop creating from purpose and start performing for approval. You stop asking what's right for me and start asking what will make them like me. And that's how greatness dies, not from failure, but from compromise. When you chase validation, you're building your identity on something that can be taken away at any moment. Opinions shift. People forget. Attention fades. But when you chase growth, you're building yourself from the inside out. You're creating something that no one can take from you. Skill, knowledge, resilience, self-respect. And the irony. The moment you stop chasing validation, you start earning real respect. Because people can feel authenticity, too. They can sense when you're doing something from conviction versus when you're doing it for attention. True power comes from not needing to prove your worth, from knowing it. Growth is not glamorous. It will humble you. It will expose every insecurity, every weakness, every lie you tell yourself. It will demand that you look in the mirror and face the parts of you that still need work. That's why most people avoid it. Because real growth feels like loss before it feels like gain. You have to lose the old you to make room for the new one. When you stop seeking validation, you also stop comparing. You stop measuring your journey against someone else's timeline. You stop trying to match someone's highlight reel with your behind-the-scenes struggle. Because you realize you're not behind. You're just in process. And process takes time. Growth asks you to be patient, to trust the long game, to be okay with not being understood, to stand firm in your values when others doubt your path. It asks you to move differently, think differently, and sometimes walk alone. Because growth isn't about being liked, it's about becoming capable. Here's the paradox. The more you grow, the less external validation means to you. Because once you start evolving, you start seeing how fleeting other people's opinions really are. One moment, they'll praise you. The next, they'll criticize you. If you let their noise dictate your direction, you'll spend your life spinning in circles. But if you focus on growth, you start to anchor yourself in something that doesn't move. Your own progress, too. The most powerful people in the world don't need to announce what they're working on. Their results speak for them. Going to They don't waste energy proving themselves to people who aren't even part of their purpose. They know the difference between being seen and being effective. And you have that same power. You just have to stop feeding the need to be validated. Every time you look for approval, you give away your authority. You give someone else permission to define your worth. But when you commit to growth, you take that power back. You start building a foundation that doesn't crumble when the applause fades. Growth requires humility. You have to be willing to be bad at something before you can be great at it. You have to let go of pride because pride keeps you comfortable. Validation feeds pride. Pride says, I already know. Growth says, teach me. Pride says, I want to look good. Growth says, I want to be good. And sometimes growth means disappearing for a while. It means stepping back from the noise, from the need to show progress, and actually doing the work. You'll lose some people along the way. The ones who only clapped for your performance will vanish when you stop performing. But the ones who value your evolution will stay. And more importantly, you'll stay true to yourself. So stop announcing every move. Stop explaining your plans. Stop asking for permission to change. Just do it. Let your silence be your strategy. Let your results do the talking. Because silence is powerful when it's backed by progress. Validation is surface level. Growth is substance. One feeds your ego, the other feeds your evolution. And you can't have both at the same time. You'll either live for how you look or for who you're becoming. So the next time you find yourself waiting for approval, ask yourself, why? Who are you really doing this for? Because the moment you realize that the only validation that matters is your own, everything changes. Your focus sharpens. Your peace deepens. You stop chasing and start building. You stop performing and start evolving. And one day when the world finally notices you, when they start asking how you did it, you'll smile, not because they see you now, but because you didn't need them to. You grew without permission. You chose progress over applause. You chose truth over attention. That's the quiet revolution of every successful person. They don't shout their transformation. They live it. They don't seek validation. They seek growth, and in doing so, they become unstoppable. Failure. That word alone makes people uncomfortable. We've been conditioned to treat it like something shameful, something to hide, something to avoid at all costs. From the time we were young, we were taught that failure means you're not good enough, not smart enough, not capable enough. But here's the truth that no one tells you. The people who are most successful, the ones you admire, the ones who seem unstoppable, they fail more than anyone else. They just don't advertise it. See, the world only celebrates the win, the trophy, the promotion, the spotlight, the headline. But behind every success story is a graveyard of failed attempts, broken plans, and painful lessons. You just never see that part because the world isn't looking for it. Success hides failure the way a tree hides its roots. Deep underground, invisible, but absolutely essential. Without those roots, the tree doesn't stand. Without those failures, there is no success. The people who make it, they fail constantly. They just don't quit. They don't let failure define them. They treat every setback as a teacher, every mistake as information. When something goes wrong, they don't fall apart. They ask, what can I learn from this? They understand that failure isn't a verdict. It's feedback. It's direction. It's data. The reason most people never succeed isn't because they fail. It's because they stop when they fail. They get embarrassed. They take it personally. They start believing the lie that failure means they're not enough. But failure doesn't mean you're not enough. It means you're in motion. You're trying. You're experimenting. You're alive. Failure only becomes permanent when you give it permission to be. Think about this. Every skill you've ever mastered came through failure. You fell before you walked. You stumbled before you ran. You got words wrong before you spoke fluently. Failure is literally how we learn. Somewhere along the way, we forgot that. We started expecting perfection right out of the gate, But mastery doesn't come from doing something right once. It comes from doing it wrong 1,000 times and refusing to stop until it's right. The people who succeed at the highest level are not the ones who fail the least. They're the ones who recover the fastest. They don't waste time beating themselves up. They don't drown in regret. They take the hit, they adjust, and they keep moving. Because they know that failure is just part of the price you pay for greatness. You don't get to skip it. You earn your confidence through the fire of mistakes. Every failure builds a layer of resilience. Every rejection strengthens your focus. Every setback teaches you something the easy path never could. Failure is like resistance in the gym. It breaks you down so you can rebuild stronger. And just like training, it hurts. But that pain is proof of growth. You see, people who avoid failure are really avoiding growth. They stay safe. They stay comfortable. They never stretch beyond what they already know. But the successful, they deliberately walk into the unknown. They put themselves in positions where failure is possible, even likely, because they understand that's where breakthroughs happen, too. You cannot evolve if you're afraid to fall. And here's the irony, the people who fail the most end up looking like they never fail at all. Because by the time you see their success, they've already built such a deep relationship with failure that it doesn't shake them anymore. They've learned how to fall with grace. They've learned how to start over without losing momentum. They've learned that failure doesn't erase your worth. It refines it. Failure strips away the illusions. It shows you who you are when things don't go your way. It exposes your weaknesses so you can fix them. It humbles your ego so you can learn. It reminds you that you're human. And that's powerful. Because once you stop being afraid of failing, you stop being afraid of living. You ever wonder why successful people seem calm under pressure? It's not because they're fearless. It's because they've failed so many times that fear doesn't surprise them anymore. They've already seen the worst case scenarios. They've already been embarrassed, rejected, and overlooked. And yet, they survived, they learned, they adapted. Now they move through life with a quiet kind of confidence. The kind that only comes from surviving failure after failure and realizing you're still standing. Failure also teaches you empathy. It makes you more patient, more grounded, more real. You stop judging others so harshly because you know what it feels like to fall. You start appreciating effort over outcome, process over perfection. You begin to understand that everyone's fighting battles you can't see, and that every person who's achieved something great has scars they don't show. The difference between winners and quitters isn't talent, it's tolerance. How much failure can you tolerate before you give up? Because success is built on failure the way muscles are built on fatigue. You have to reach your limits before you can expand them. You have to be willing to look foolish before you can look fearless. And maybe right now, you're in that place. You've tried and it didn't work. You've pushed and nothing moved. You've given your best and it still wasn't enough. And you're thinking, what's the point? The point is this: you're closer than you think. Every failure has been preparing you. Every disappointment has been shaping your character, sharpening your skills, and toughening your spirit. You're not being punished, You're being prepared. You can't control when success shows up, but you can control whether you're still standing when it does. And that's what failure teaches you: endurance, the ability to keep showing up after every no, every loss, every setback. Because at some point, one of those attempts will hit, one of those doors will open, and when it does, all the failures that once felt unbearable will suddenly make sense. When people finally see your success, they'll call you lucky. They'll say, it must have been easy for you. They'll never know about the nights you doubted yourself, the plans that fell apart, the times you cried alone, wondering if it was worth it. They'll never know, because by the time success shows, failure is long gone, but you'll know. You'll remember every scar, every bruise, every time you thought about giving up, and you'll smile, not because it was easy, but because you earned it the hard way, That's why the successful don't brag about their failures. They don't need to. Failure was never the end. It was the beginning. Every fall taught them something essential: how to rise. Every rejection redirected them towards something better. Every closed door forced them to build their own. So don't run from failure. Don't hide from it. Don't see it as a mark of shame. See it as proof that you're trying, that you're learning, that you're alive. Because the ones who fail the most are the ones who eventually win the most. Not because they're luckier, but because they've learned that falling doesn't make you weak. Staying down does. So the next time you fail, don't curse it. Thank it, because it's showing you something. It's refining you. It's preparing you for the version of yourself that success requires. And one day, when the world finally calls you a success, you'll know the real secret was never avoiding failure. It was mastering it. There comes a point in your journey where you realize success isn't just about what you do. It's about what you allow, who you let near you, what you give your time, focus, and attention to. Energy is everything, and the people who truly rise to the top understand this better than anyone. They protect their energy like it's gold, because it is. Every decision you make costs energy. Every conversation, every distraction, every argument, every worry. It all drains something from you. And most people waste it on things that don't matter. They hand out their attention like candy, to then wonder why they're too tired to chase their dreams. The truth, you can't build an extraordinary life if you keep investing your energy in ordinary things. 2. The people who succeed at the highest level aren't superhuman. They just learned what to protect. They guard their mindset, their environment, and their focus with ruthless discipline. They know energy is a currency, and they spend it only where it grows them. You've seen it. Some people walk into a room and drain the life out of it. Others walk in and make the entire place feel alive. The difference isn't luck. It's energy. The successful know they can't afford to surround themselves with chaos, drama, or negativity. Because energy is contagious, you become what you're around. And 2. And if you're constantly absorbing other people's noise, you'll never hear your own direction. Protecting your energy means setting boundaries. Not because you're cold, but because you're clear. It means saying no to people and situations that pull you backward. It means recognizing that not everyone deserves access to you, no matter how long you've known them or how much they want from you. Some people feed you, and some people drain you, and learning the difference is survival. The truth is, most people don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they're exhausted. Not physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. They give too much of themselves to things that don't feed them. They fight battles that don't belong to them. They argue to prove points that don't matter. They carry people who refuse to walk. And then, when it's time to show up for their own goals, they have nothing left. But the successful, they've learned to protect their energy the way a warrior protects his weapon. They know that every distraction has a price. They don't chase every opportunity because not every opportunity aligns with their mission. They don't attend every event, join every conversation, or respond to every opinion. Silence becomes their strength. Stillness becomes their weapon because they understand. Where attention goes, energy flows. 2. Protecting your energy also means being intentional about what you consume. The news you read, the people you follow, the thoughts you entertain. Every piece of information you absorb either strengthens you or weakens you. The successful curate their input like a playlist. They don't let random noise shape their mindset. They know that what you feed your mind becomes the quality of your thoughts, and your thoughts become the quality of your life. And let's be honest, it's not easy. 2. Protecting your energy often means disappointing people. It means walking away from relationships that no longer serve your growth. It means saying no when you used to say yes just to please others. It means embracing solitude. Because solitude isn't loneliness, it's clarity. It's where you recharge. It's where you hear your intuition, your vision, your truth. You can't hear your calling if you're surrounded by constant noise. You can't step into purpose if your energy is constantly being drained by distraction. The world is full of people who are busy but going nowhere. 2. They're exhausted not because they're working hard, but because they're working unfocused. Protecting your energy means learning to move with precision, not panic. Every day, you wake up with a limited amount of energy. You can spend it chasing validation, reacting to drama, or worrying about what people think. Or you can spend it building your future. But you can't do both. The successful choose wisely. They don't waste energy fighting small battles when there's a war for their destiny ahead. They conserve it for the things that matter. The goals that move them forward. 2. The people who make them better, the moments that make them come alive. You ever notice how the most grounded people seem calm, even when life is chaos? That's not luck. That's discipline. They've built an invisible fence around their peace. They don't allow every situation to pull them into emotional reaction. They protect their inner world so fiercely that no external storm can shake it. Protecting your energy also means protecting your focus. You can't create anything meaningful if you're constantly distracted. Every time you pick up your phone, scroll mindlessly, or react to something trivial, you're bleeding energy. And energy leaks kill dreams quietly. The successful understand this. They create systems, routines, and environments that eliminate unnecessary noise. They make their life a sanctuary for focus, not chaos. But protecting your energy isn't just about avoidance. It's about alignment. It's not just cutting things out. It's drawing in what fills you up. It's surrounding yourself with people who challenge you, not drain you. It's choosing conversations that expand you, not shrink you. It's doing work that excites you, not depletes you. It's finding activities that ground you, exercise, reading, meditation, reflection, and treating them as non-negotiable. And when you start protecting your energy, something powerful happens. You start to feel lighter, clearer. You stop reacting to everything. You stop feeling pulled in 100 directions. You start moving with purpose. You begin to notice how much power you actually have when your energy isn't scattered. The world will always try to take your focus. It will tempt you with noise, with opinions, with urgency that isn't yours. But if you can learn to guard your energy, to say, no, not today, not my fight, not my distraction, you become untouchable. You start living on your terms. So, if you feel drained, ask yourself, where is my energy going? Who's taking it? What am I giving it to that gives nothing back? And then start reclaiming it. Pull it back piece by piece until your energy belongs to you again. Because your energy is your life force. Where it goes, your life goes. The successful know this. That's why they move differently. They don't react. They respond. They don't chase. They attract. They don't explain. They evolve. Because they know their energy is their greatest asset, and wasting it on the wrong people, the wrong battles, the wrong fears is the fastest way to lose themselves. So protect it, guard it, defend it with everything you have. Because when your energy is right, your focus sharpens, your confidence grows, and your path clears. You stop just surviving, you start creating. And that's when everything changes. The secret isn't that successful people have more energy than you. It's that they don't waste it. They treat it like gold. Because once you lose it to the wrong things, it's gone. But when you protect it, nurture it, and direct it with purpose, it becomes unstoppable. And when your energy becomes unstoppable, so do you. At some point, you realize the secret was never about luck, talent, or timing. It was about you. What you were willing to endure, what you were willing to feel without breaking. How deeply you were willing to grow, how often you were willing to fail, and what you were willing to protect. Every single person you admire has walked through fire, not once, but many times. They've been rejected, doubted, misunderstood, and overlooked. But they kept showing up. They stayed the course. They protected their focus. They mastered their emotions. They fell and got back up. Again and again, until the world had no choice but to notice. And that's the truth no one says out loud. Success isn't a secret. It's a decision to keep moving when others stop, to choose growth over comfort, to choose discipline over emotion, to choose silence over validation, to choose peace over noise. You don't need anyone's permission to become who you're meant to be. You don't need their approval. You don't need the perfect timing, the perfect plan, or the perfect circumstances. You already have what every successful person started with. A choice. A choice to believe in yourself when no one else does. A choice to get up one more time. A choice to protect your energy, to own your emotions, to keep learning, to keep building. Because everything you want, the success, the peace, to the freedom, it's on the other side of that choice. So stop waiting for someone to hand you the map. You are the map. You are the weapon. You are the strategy. This world doesn't owe you anything, but it will give you everything if you're willing to do what others won't. Stay in the fight when it's hard. Stay quiet when it's noisy. Stay calm when it's chaotic. And most importantly, stay you when everything tries to change you. The secret successful people never say out loud isn't magic, it's mastery. The mastery of self. Master that. Your endurance, your emotions, your growth, your resilience, your energy. And you will never have to chase success again. It will come to you. Because the truth is, you were never just meant to survive this life. You were meant to command it. Now go and make that truth impossible to ignore.